A very interesting briefing. We will be talking about the main outcomes of activities of the State Border Guard Service of Ukraine in 2015. And our speaker is a Colonel General Viktor Nazarenko, the head of the State Border Guard Service of Ukraine. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Starting our press conference, I would like to thank mass media community for your assistance this year, because you have helped us to cover the activities of our State Border Guard Service. And now we would like to give you an overview of activities of the State Border Guard Service of Ukraine in 2015. Despite all of the challenges, we have managed to carry out the tasks of the service in a good manner and at a high quality. We have ensured border control as well as border surveillance in the east and west and at the administrative border with Crimea. All the tasks have been performed in the dynamic and complicated conditions when our units took part in the ATO, and also they took part in surveillance at the administrative border with Crimea. A total of 5 international border guard operations took place this year. We should focus our efforts on counteracting illegal schemes and bringing to liability of specific offenders. We believe that we are open and transparent service, and we proceed reforming our system. This is a coordinated process with other agencies in the defense and security sector. All the programmatic documents have been drafted through participatory approach. As an example, we can take the strategy of border guard service development till 2020. Before it was adopted by the government, we have fruitful work with 2 international consultants and NGOs, as well as public hearings were conducted in order to improve the border guard legislations. We have developed 12 draft law and 32 regulatory acts draft, including 15 that have already been passed. All of them are focused on improving the border guard service and the border control and border surveillance. We have reorganized our departments and units and reformed the educational institutions in our sector. 21 units of border guard service and 3 commandments of urgent response have been equipped with mortars, anti-tank, anti-aircraft and other weaponry and military equipment. It has become possible thanks to adoption of the law increasing the manpower of the border guard service by 3,000%. In in persons of the law on cleaning up the power, we have replaced the heads of 4 out of 5 departments of the bodyguard service, and we have completed the lustration procedure. It started in September and was completed by the end of October. The liberalization of control regime at the checkpoints at the border with the EU countries has already been finished. Besides biometric passports, we also provided other conditions. We have been completing the procedure of consultations, and we have finalized the program of reconstruction of the state border of Ukraine. We have liberated and we have been implementing the action plan of upgrading the engineering facilities at the border between Ukraine and Russia. 4 general and 12 subcontractors were engaged. We also received support from volunteers in these activities. The dynamics of the engineering works at the border is satisfactory, and I am satisfied with the status of these works. 125 kilometers of the special dams at the border were dug out. We also install various video surveillance equipment on the borders under the threat of aggression. We have a vision of new ideology and for perspective. We launch the definition of intellectual smart border. Here you can see now displayed the system of surveillance, video surveillance at the Kharkiv region frontier with Russia. We get assistance from US experts and Lithuania experts. The head of Lithuania team visited the border. And he is going to use the best practices of Ukraine in Lithuania as well. We also improved the equipment quantities, the equipment supply. We have a lot of quantity of armored vehicles to transport manpower of the bodyguard services. We have implemented 24 international projects with our foreign counterparts. Despite the lack of finances, we have maintained and improved the potential of our marine and ground and airborne forces 2 patrolling aircrafts and 4 helicopters were used this year. The sectoral car fleet received 7 patrolling vehicles. We have developed the concept of development of marine and airborne and aircraft forces of the border guard service. In October, the government approved the plan of engineering facilities installation in the sea coast of Ukraine, including installing the modern US manufactured systems of surveillance. We also have been improving the curriculum of higher educational institutions, including all tactical disciplines. We 2,300 experts have graduated our higher educational institutions this year. The focus in medical area is also on the quality of training of medical personnel. And we are also in the process of systemic and combating corruption. 3,000 persons have been brought to liability. 123 persons are being prosecuted, and 88 persons have been sentenced already. 83 persons were dismissed, and we conduct monitoring both with technical equipment means and other means. Previously, so active anti-corruption activities had been missing in our system. The number of refusals from taking bribes is now numbering 270 cases. We use non-standard approaches in our operations. Here you can see a flyer which will be disseminated at our checkpoints. It will be disseminated to the persons passing the border checkpoints, and it is both in Ukrainian and languages of the border countries. This flyer has been elaborated by joint offers with the UN office in Ukraine. And we also create an integrated system for combating corruption, and we initiated an anti-corruption project under the title Challenges of the Millennium. We developed different communication platforms. They numbered about a dozen. We improved the system of work with our manpower. We actively develop the departments of counter propaganda and psychological rehabilitation for combat participants. We are creating a new image of a bodyguard. We would like him to be a highly moral and competent defender of our state who enjoys trust on the part of civil citizens. If we have enough finances, we will disseminate and replicate our pilot projects in other regions of Ukraine. The strict position on administrative and staff appointment decisions promoted many employees received benefits for their high performance. Since October, we renewed indexation compensation distributions. We also provide housing to the bodyguards. We now do not buy apartments at the secondary market. We build new housing. After 9 years of delay, we have finished building the houses in many cities of Ukraine, including Bortnichi near Kiev, in Odessa. We started building in Khmelnytsky. We have found the solution with the building in Chernigiv for 400 apartments that will be provided to bodyguards. The budget of 2016 provides for 200 million hryvnias for apartments to be granted to bodyguards. We finished building another hospital in Kharkiv. We plan to complete its equipment this year. Our foreign counterparts help us. The German counterparts helped us to equip the helicopter for medical service of the bodyguard. And the Japanese government will provide us $1 million for equipment of our central hospital. Thousands of bodyguards were rehabilitated and treated in the medical institutions of the USA, Israel, and Poland. As concerned the main results of operative activities at the administrative border of Crimea and in the east we have control 79 passing persons, the persons passing the border. We also 1,200,000 road vehicles were controlled at the checkpoints. 717 offenders were detained. 32 units of weaponry and 130,000 ammunitions and ordnance were seized. 1,700 attempts of the goods smuggling cases were stopped. As concerned the illegal migrants, we have managed to prevent intrusion of hundreds of people. We prevented smuggling of more than 800 of goods, tons of goods. These indicators are several times higher than the previous year. I would like to focus on separate matters of our activities. In the ATO zone, the bodyguards have been performing the border control, operative and border surveillance activities. To this end, we establish the relevant manpower, staff structure, and the system of electronic permits. The registration has been completed, and all those persons, all those civilians who have not conducted any violations, they can pass freely at the checkpoints in the ATO zone. All our checkpoints have been equipped with the engineering facilities and video surveillance equipment. We can now watch online all the conditions at every checkpoint at the it seems to be Marienka. We can see the situation there in online mode. Just from this room where we conduct our briefing. At some points we implement the new ideology. I would like to repeat, the operator from this room control the video surveillance equipment and the pictures which we see on our display here. We have we have taken the volunteers to our services, and now they already have been trained in Cherkasy and graduated the training. About half of them are females. At the border checkpoints and at the checkpoints at the contact line, we conduct the following activities. For example, we detained the KAMAZ vehicle at the contact line. This KAMAZ was from Russia. In the ATO zone, more than 14,000 bodyguards took part in the combat activities and hostilities in the east of Ukraine, and a majority of them have received the status of combat participants. 406 persons were wounded. Thanks to the support from our volunteers, we have managed to found four bodies of the dead bodyguards. They were brought to Ukraine to their relatives. Fortunately, we do not have any captives so far. Our service put lot of efforts in controlling the situation at the administrative border with Crimea at the start of this year. We ensured control at the sections of administrative border with Crimea and Khersonsk region. We urgently respond to extreme situations as concern the marine border. For control, we use the sectoral system of surveillance of above the sea situation, and we contact with our military marine forces and marine forces of Romania, Bulgaria, and Turkey, and we also conducted a special operation in which we proved that the drilling offshore installations they were moved closer to Ukrainian coast. The marine forces searched 1,489 vessels. 2017 offenses were revealed. 72 vessels were arrested. The fines for 41.5 thousand hryvnias were imposed, and 290,000 hryvnias of funds were returned to the budget of Ukraine. We have managed to ensure non-stop operation of the passport control border checkpoints. The quality of passport control is maintained at the high level. We have identified fake passports in 125 persons. We have been conducting new operations, new projects. We found 3 times more ammunition and 6 times more explosives and 973 units of weaponry. As concerned the fake passports, we found 645 of them, and 560 persons without documents were detained. Despite the migration situation in Ukraine is not of significant threat to the border safety for the European Union. This is not only our assessment. Frontex International Agency also proves that Ukrainian situation is not threatening. Due to twice higher number of migrants detained, we have improved our performance. The courts issued 27 sentences and 8 persons received the sentence of imprisonment. We suppose to increase the control and monitoring at the border in the framework of anti-terrorist operations. We increase the special operations number. 175 persons alleged of illegal activities such as terroristic activities were detained. The smugglers at our borders remain to smuggle cigarettes, in particular in Odessa and Transcarpathian regions. The smuggling was by various batches, large and small ones, at the border with Moldova. At the Moldova border, there are alcohol smuggling cases. As concern fuel smuggling, it is in place at the border with the Russian Federation. The most of the cases concern the pipelines with Lugansk region. In Moldova, there were attempts to install the pipelines for fuel smuggling. As concerns the amber smuggling, 34 areas were revealed and they were under monitoring, and we also received opposition, and we used the arms in order to fight with the amber smugglers. At the checkpoints where we control, we have seized about 1 ton of amber. They used various smuggling schemes at the Poland border. And also airlines destined to China. The smugglers tried to bring the amber over the border of Ukraine on the aircrafts going to China. As concerns UAV monitoring, our units registered 123 cases of airspace violation by UAVs. As a result, in Carpathian and Lviv regions, we found 55 UAV storages and 5 UAVs. The administration of the Border Guard Service initiated the system of regulation, monitoring, and opposing illegal activities, illegal smuggling with the use of UAV. This activities needs integrated management. We try to use every opportunity to cooperate with our counterparts from other countries, cooperation with law enforcement bodies, with volunteers and NGOs, and patriots among our civilians. I have conducted the meetings with the heads of bodyguard services of other countries and the leaders of Visegrad force. We have had meetings initiated by the President of Ukraine. The meeting was conducted on December 2nd. The representatives of all relevant EU institutions were present at the meeting. My colleagues and me discussed the problem of cooperation and counteracting smuggling. Our foreign counterparts trust in us already, and we control the frontiers by our joint efforts with the bodyguards of other countries at the western border of Ukraine. We are creating the conditions for free movement of goods and vehicles through the frontier of Ukraine with our western border countries due to visa-free regime to be expected. The interaction with the military-civilian administration has been established in the east of Ukraine. In the south of Ukraine, we control the border along with other forces, law enforcement, and in the west, along with the armed forces, we launched the reconnaissance in order to prevent amber smuggling. In the west, 23 patrolling operations took place along with Ukrainian airborne forces. In the south, we cooperate with special 400 territorial formations where the active local citizens took part. We would like to thank Genichsk and Chernigiv territorial formations for their active participation in control and monitoring. And we would like to thank volunteers for their psychological, material and technical assistance for over 500 million hryvnias. And we would like to thank our artists, politicians, MPs and patriots of Ukraine who help us to control Ukrainian borders. I would like to accent that all of us are doing a very patriotic activity, achieving the objective of protecting Ukrainian borders from trespassers and aggressors. And I would like to state that the state bodyguard service personnel has been conducting their tasks at high quality, high standard, and I'm sure that the next year we will be performing our activities in full volume and at a high standard. I would like to use this chance to greet you with the new year, to congratulate you and wish you all the best in the coming 2016 year. And now we have questions in the audience. Stanislav Fещенко, 1+1 TV channel. Happy New Year to you and Merry Christmas. You said that you are going to increase the salaries. Stepan Poltorak promised 8,000 hryvnia salaries to the military men of the armed forces of Ukraine. And what will be the salaries at the state border guard services? Thank you for helping us to take care of our service personnel. By our initiative, 1 month ago, the government adopted the resolution increasing the remunerations of state border guards, which would be equal to the same salaries as in the armed forces and the National Guard of Ukraine. So from January 1st, the border guards will be receiving the remunerations similar to those of the armed forces and the National Guard servicemen. Taking into account our capabilities, we will also be providing benefits to the border guards for high performance of their duties. The numbers on average of the remunerations to our servicemen, taking into consideration the budget for 2016. I'm not taking into consideration ATO zone. Our servicemen there receive almost the same high remunerations as ATO servicemen from the armed forces of Ukraine. The salaries, final salaries, they should be equal with the armed forces of Ukraine. On our part, we are asking you, as soon as the final version of the budget is ready, along with the annexes to it, we are asking you to provide information to the society so that we know the figures. This would help to increase the trust in the society, and this would prevent demoralization of the society. Yes, we are ready. We have preliminary figures, but we have not seen the final figures and the final budget version. If we do not achieve the planned figures in January, anyway, the increase in the salaries will be very high. And again, thank you very much for taking care over our servicemen. The resolution has already been adopted. It had been elaborated during 9 months this year. As concerns Giuliani Airport, we have an experiment there. It is ongoing. In Giuliani and Gostomel airports, the salaries are 7 and 8 and 8,000 hryvnias. I'm sure that our servicemen, despite of challenges, will be putting their best efforts to gain the best results and create the best image of the bodyguard service of Ukraine, interface of Ukraine. Uh, about the minimum salaries of bodyguards, you said it would be 6,000. No, we have not managed. We planned to get 6,000 salaries, and we know that competent bodies are in charge of developing salaries. Yes, we have submitted proposals already. What general budget the bodyguard service have received, and what efforts this bodyguard service is putting to provide for visa-free mode implementation at the border of Ukraine. As concerns this year, and as concerns the plan of liberalizing the mode of control in the expectation of visa-free mode, you saw the slides. We are ready to biometric checks. We have joined with Lion database. It was an important step in the efforts of preparing to visa-free mode in Ukraine. You can see that this year to perform all the activities in full, we need 250 million hryvnia. We have not received the budget. We do not have it on our desks. Yes. As soon as we receive it, we will see whether it is equal to 250,000. Anyway, whatever is the budget, we will provide the conditions for our civil citizens to pass the border free in the framework of the visa-free mode. We asked twice a higher budget than we are promised. We will see further what will be the figures. I would like to specify about the wall project. You said the 400 million hryvnias have been allocated. How much money do you need to finalize to complete this building project? The wall will be a ground. It will not be just the ground facility. I told you this will be the smart border. The border monitored with the help of surveillance video equipment. 4.5 billion hryvnias of total budget are supposed for this program. We have received 400 million out of 4.5 billions of total money required to complete this project. Next year we plan to implement the project in Kharkiv region and in Lugansk region if we have such the opportunity, and possibly in Sumy region. I would like to tell you that this project is a complex one. We have been putting many efforts to make it open, transparent, and understandable with the help of State Hydrographic Service. We plan to continue this project this year in the administrative border with Crimea and in Transnistria. Using the same funds, we don't know how much money we will receive. As much as we receive, we will use every kopeck to finance this project. Any facilities protecting the border, such as barriers, they all can be trespassed. So we also improve our military guard capabilities. However, the military vehicles which have been manufactured in Ukraine, such as Triton vehicle. It is a very complex system of video surveillance, radar equipment. It identifies the distances and it has weaponry. Starting with machine guns and anti-tank guns, we plan to procure 62 Triton vehicles next year. And when we have bought the cables this year of Ukrainian manufacturer, and such cables they help to identify trespassers, including the speed of their movement. Near Kharkiv, we established a testing ground because we need to test the data, to test the video surveillance systems. We took best practices from the Czechoslovakia Border Guard Service. And we have introduced the smart border surveillance equipment. And trespassers could hardly get Ukrainian area if the smart border equipment is installed. According to the Minsk agreements, your border guard servicemen should have been already checking the border with Russia in the occupied territories. Do you have any negotiations with Russian commanders. Unfortunately, we do not have contacts with the Russian Federation bodyguard services. As concern our joint efforts with our Western partners in Czechoslovakia and Poland, I would like to say that we have been working in a very close contact, but as concerned the Ukraine and Russia border, we do not have any contacts except formal contacts with our Russian counterparts as concerned returning the occupied section which is not under control of our state bodyguard service. We are getting ready and we prepare and train. We train people and we prepare machinery to be ready to take back the control of this section of Ukrainian border. We have already included the budget to be allocated for controlling the border of Ukraine on currently uncontrolled section of the border. We try to gather our manpower and our machinery so that they are ready to start patrolling the frontier of Ukraine and Russia. I am inviting you now to the lounge to have a dialogue with mass media representatives. I would like to remind you that after 12:30 we will have an additional briefing about the dynamics of hostilities in the ATO zone.